Hey y'all, welcome. I wanted to do a video with my Ugg mug, and I'm gonna call it Coffee Talk with my Ugg mug, because maybe somewhere out there someone needs to hear this. So, there are a lot of things to focus on in the real world. There's save the animals and become a vegan and stop eating meat, and you need to go to zero waste and take care of yourself and try to find a work-life balance and make your house perfectly clean, and I don't know, this product's wonderful, that product's wonderful, buy this new thing. There's just so much coming at you, and over the course of COVID, I've gotten a lot better at learning how to be by myself and figure out how I want to spend that time. I've done a lot of reading, I've done a lot of researching, I've gone down so many YouTube rabbit holes, oh my goodness, which I never did before. So let me preempt this by saying I have no intentions of, there's no fancy intro, I have no intentions of being like a YouTube influencer or an Instagram influencer or anything. But I am going to post some videos, and maybe there's someone out there that needs to hear it, even if it's just one person. Then my mark is made. So anyway, a couple things I wanted to talk about. First of all, coffee. I love coffee. That's something you should know about me. Which is another, like, so many things in life are sources of guilt. I drink a lot of coffee. And I guess I'm not supposed to, but I spent a lot of time feeling guilty about that, through various dieting avenues and things like that. And I just think that I don't want to feel guilty anymore. I don't want to stress, I don't want to worry, but I still want to work towards being vegan and work towards zero waste and work towards my own wellness, have a nice tidy home, and to be a little bit less of a consumer. So in that vein, I'm going to talk about all those things right now, and then going forward, I'm just going to share some tips and tricks, to see if I help somebody. So the first thing is veganism. So I went vegetarian about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, 7, 8, I don't know. I think I watched Forks Over Knives or something like that, which is great. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch that. But then there's this balance of, you're scrolling through Facebook and you think, oh, this is really interesting and it's vegetarianism related, so I think I'm gonna like this, and then it starts popping up in your feed and you're seeing like half dead cows and stuff, and you're like, and then you're like, oh, this feels really icky. So maybe don't follow that. I mean, it's great to draw information from, but maybe your better avenue is following like a YouTube influencer who doesn't share that kind of stuff, or maybe an Instagram post that doesn't share that kind of stuff, and kind of go from there. And then, as I've kind of rolled along with it, I'd love to be vegan, but I don't think I have the willpower to stick to veganism. There's also this, not with influencers, no disrespect to them, they're trying to help people and guide them towards a more vegan life, and mad props for that. But if you go on Facebook and you're like, hey, I'm a vegan, you get all these people that are like, but bacon. I went through that a little bit, even just as a vegetarian. People would share things on my Facebook page that I didn't like, and they're people that I love, and they think that they're having a good time, but I wasn't having a good time. So I stopped talking about it on social media. And then you get, you go into a restaurant and you're like, oh, I'm a vegan, and everybody's like, ugh. You don't preach it, you just want to order something vegan, and you don't want to dictate to your friends where they go, so you go where they're going and you try to modify it a little bit. Like, being a vegan is a lot of work. There's a lot of food prep. You don't want to buy prepackaged meals very often. You still want to go out and have a good time with your friends, and it's just all very complicated, and it's very disheartening. So I think I just try to make as many vegan choices as possible. So I made the switch a couple years ago to vegan coffee cream, but then I might eat a salad that has cheese in it. I don't really eat eggs, but if there's a cupcake at a party, I really like cupcakes, so I'm gonna eat a cupcake. And then there was this little, back and forth where you're like, oh my God, that's not vegan. Well, make a vegan choice next time. Maybe it's as simple as that. I have a protein powder that I use in my smoothies, and I picked the vegan one, even though maybe I had cheese yesterday at a party. Well, there was no party yesterday because of COVID. But you get my meaning. I'm not much of a cook, so I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours prepping vegan meals and cooking vegan meals. I'm never going to. It's who I am. And I felt a lot of time, I felt guilty for stuff like that, but maybe it's not necessary. So I'm just gonna roll with it, and I'm just gonna make as many vegan choices as possible. There are a couple of restaurants in the little town that I live in where they're specifically vegetarian and vegan outlets. And then at home, I might roast some carrots and parsnips, and I'll do a huge tray of them, and I'll just pick at those for a couple days, and I'll put vegan protein powder in my smoothie with cashew milk. I like it because it's got a thicker consistency than almond milk, which I can put in my cereal, which probably isn't vegan, but it's got a high iron and protein content. And those are two things that I'm really, really lacking in my day-to-day life. So maybe those are some things that a person could consider, rather than, I want to be vegan and going gung-ho and then falling off the wagon, and maybe just take little steps. And in that vein, I wanted to talk a little bit about zero waste. So I think the first thing I did is I was running my own business about 5 years back, and I was cleaning houses on the side. And actually I was turning clients away because I actually have a full-time job doing something else that I don't want to give up. I actually do like my work. But anyway, I was going house to house, and I was burning through paper towel. And I was like, this is crazy. The planet, this is not good for my planet. So I made the switch I started taking microfiber cloths everywhere with me. And I would have one bag for the clean ones and one bag for the dirty ones. And then I would come home and I would wash them. And I don't know, that tiny little switch was enough to make me feel like, okay, I made a difference. At least it's a small difference, but at least I made a difference, and it's a step towards maybe something bigger. So we've never been paper towel people, not when I was growing up, and not in my own home. But I did have paper towel from time to time. I haven't had it in about 5 years. I use microfiber cloths for everything. Even, I've been doing online paint nights through EA Maker. If you haven't done that before, check them out. They're really, really cool. So when I do my online paint nights, instead of having paper towel at the ready, I have a couple of microfiber cloths that I use over and over just for my paint nights. And, that's just like a baby step. And then, so sorry, again, I'm not a professional, so that you're getting what you're getting with me. So then one of the next steps, I took, my cousin bought this really cool thing. I'm just going to pull mine out of the sink. So don't mind, because I used it. But this is like a little reusable coffee filter, or like holder stand type thing, and you just make your coffee this way. And she turned me on to this about 5 years ago, so I just boil a kettle and I make my coffee that way. That was going great for a number of years. And then recently I started noticing, like, used paper coffee filters with the grinds in them they were the thing taking up the bulk of space in my green bin, my food waste bin. So I thought, well, maybe there's like a reusable option, and I went on Amazon and I saw this stainless steel one. It was like $25. So I'm like, "Meh." And then, I don't know, I forget how it all unfolded, but I found out through zero waste sources that you can actually get reusable filters. So I picked up a reusable filter. So I'm just going to empty the grinds into the green bin, and then I'm going to give this a little rinse, and then it's going to be ready to go for next time. So again, those aren't like huge steps. They're baby steps. Maybe you're in a household of like 5 people and everybody drinks coffee. Well, you're going to brew a pot of coffee, but I only need a cup at a time, and I don't want the coffee to sit and wait for me to get to it. I like it fresh on the spot. I flick the kettle on. In the morning, I go brush my teeth and I floss and put my hemp oil on my face and whatever, brush my hair. And I'll talk about this later, but I scrape my tongue with a tongue scraper. And then by the time that's all done, the kettle's ready and I brew my coffee. And then when I have my second, third, fourth, fifth coffee in the day, I'll flick the kettle on and I'll do a load of dishes while I wait for it to brew. Baby steps. So so that was really interesting. Other zero waste things I've taken to try not to waste as much water in my house. So maybe that's a baby step that a person could take. So it used to be that I have a very big, deep farm style type sink. And I'm just one of those people, you would fill the sink right up and then you would keep the water running while you rinsed your dishes. So I've stopped doing that. I fill the sink enough for everything to be like wet and kind of submerged. And then I turn the water off, and then I clean, and then I flick the water on, I rinse, and then I flick the water off. And I don't know, in my mind, I'm saving water. And then with the kettle, there's always a little bit of leftover water. Well, I have a Brita filter, like a big canister Brita filter that sits on my counter because I don't like cold water. And I pour that boiled water into the Brita filter. And then some of the other leftover water, I'll put it in the watering can for my plants, my house plants. And then maybe I've saved a little bit of water. And I go by that cottage rule. Everybody's been to a cottage where it's like, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. I do that. I practice that here in my house. If it's yellow, I let it mellow, and I take the toilet paper and I throw it in the garbage can in the bathroom. And then if it's brown, I flush it down. So just trying to do baby steps to save a little bit of water there. It's not a huge impact, but you can do your part in very, very small ways, and then in an effort to work towards something bigger. I don't know. I don't know. But, you see these influencers, again, mad respect. These people are like balls to the wall, gung-ho, and they have every cool product and gadget. They're being sent a lot of this stuff by collaborators, which is great. That's awesome, because they are able to make recommendations, which is wicked, to people like you and me. And they're also just advocating for that lifestyle. And so maybe I don't have to throw out all my Tupperware and get use only jars. But I do save my jars, and I reuse them for my smoothies and stuff to take to work. That's something I've done for a couple of years. But I'm not throwing away my Tupperware. So I'm, when the time comes that I'm out of Tupperware, maybe I'll reconsider and I'll get the little 3-tiered metal tin thing, and that maybe my lunch will go in that. I don't know. It just depends on where I'm at. Can I afford that? Is it something that's feasible for me at the time? But I'll just continue to make these little baby steps. Another thing is I get these really cool vegan collagen supplements, because I'm on a hair journey, because I'm on all these journeys. Because if you've met me, I have 1,001 different ideas, and I'm trying to follow through with all of them is very which is kind of the point of why I made this video in the first place. But I'm taking collagen supplements to try to improve my overall health, my hair health, and my skin and nails. So I got vegan ones, and they come in a plastic container, and I'm like, oh, this isn't, if I go through one of these a month. But then I was at this zero waste bulk store in Waterloo, Ontario, and they have them big thing of them. And you just go in with your little jar and you can fill them up. So next time, I'll just go there and I'll refill what I have in a jar. It'll be great. They tear the jar for you before, so you know what weight to deduct from your overall expense. And yeah, so that's another little baby step. I don't know, you can go to the bulk store and get like this much rice or this much rice or this much peanut butter or this much peanut butter. And if it's something that you're interested in doing, then by all means do it. If that's not feasible for you at this time, well then don't do it. Just clean out your jar really good and put it in the recycling and call it a day and say that you did your part. Going forward, I'll delve into that kind of stuff more deeply. But I got these really cool, they're not vegan, because the bees wraps that you put on your food. So my daughter's cat gets half a can of cat food at a time. So I have these really cool vegan bees wraps that are really, really neat. So that saves plastic or Tupperware or whatever, like as my Tupperware dwindles. So I really like these. I bought them from, my daughter's friend is local, and her mom is a little bit farther away, but I bought them from her for $20. I got a pack of really, 5 or 6 of them, and they're really cute. So I like them. So again, that's another step toward, it's just a step, and they're not vegan. I don't know. I like them, and I didn't know there were vegan ones when I bought these ones. So whatever. Don't stress about it. If you like these, buy them. I like to tell people I'm an aspiring vegan. So then, which leads me into my next point, talking about wellness. I'm on this diet, I'm a vegan, I'm keto, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. Maybe you don't have to be balls to the wall with that. Maybe you're gonna eat a cupcake when you're out. I totally am eating a cupcake when I'm out. But maybe you could make better choices. So I make a smoothie every day, and maybe I ate like crap. Maybe I had Kraft dinner. Super not vegan, super wasteful, the cardboard box, but pick a smoothie in the day too. So like just steps towards wellness. Maybe breakfast and lunch I didn't eat so good, but then for dinner I'm like, well, maybe I'll have a salad. Or maybe you don't. Maybe in the morning you're like, well, if I don't make a healthy choice now, I won't make healthy choices all day. So you'll get into the mindset where you're like, if I pick a healthy breakfast, then I'll see how the day unfolds. Maybe you'll continue to make healthy choices, and maybe you won't, but maybe pick a healthy breakfast, and it's one step closer. One of the other things I like to do when I'm brewing my morning coffee is I like to chug a thing of water, because I don't care for water, but I know that it's good for me, so I like get out of breath chugging the water, trying to like get it in me before my coffee's ready. So maybe that's something a step you could take towards wellness. And with that, taking care of your hair, your skin, your body, your insides, your outsides. As you can see, I don't wear lipstick, and I'm not wearing cover up. And I never really have been that person. But I also, this is gonna get me a lot of hate, I don't wash my face. I know, I just never have, and I have a really cool little microscope thing that I got not too long ago, that I borrowed, and I've looked at my skin under the microscope, and it is not gross and filthy or anything. I have a pretty decent moisture balance, and then I like to put hemp oil on every morning to moisturize, and my skin's doing fine. So I don't know, say what you will. Again, haters gonna hate, and that's like a big thing. But that's what I do. It's right for me. You do you. But one of the other things, I like to research into different modalities and diets, and I don't follow them all, but I like to research them and read about them and learn. And recently I read a book on Ayurveda, And I'm probably going to say this wrong, but our body, apparently there are 3 different body types, at least in Ayurveda, dosha, pitta, and vata. And whichever one I am, apparently sesame oil is the best for my skin. So maybe about once a week, I take a bamboo bristle brush and I brush upwards. It's always brushing towards your heart. I dry brush outside of the shower. I have the shower running, and then I jump in the shower and I keep my oil in there, and I just lather on the oil. And then I take a little bit of hand soap and I scrub it off my hands just so I can get through, like not drop the shampoo bottle and whatever as I'm going along. But yeah, my skin is actually pretty good. I sometimes throughout the week I need to maintain with a little bit of body butter maybe one day to keep it nice and soft and not scaly, but trying to take better care of my skin. And apparently it reduces cellulite. I mean, my butt's looking better than it was, I think, but I don't have scientific evidence to back that up. Anyway, the point is like I took a little fraction of Ayurveda, because if you look at Ayurveda as the big picture, it was like Ayurveda for Dummies or The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda or whatever. There are some practices that they're like, you would look at it today and be like, no, I don't want to do that. But one of the other practices I picked up is I did get a metal tongue scraper, and I scrape my tongue every morning. And they say it helps with bad breath, and I don't know, it's more sanitary for you. So I bought one, whatever. So I took those 2 little nuggets, and they're just, again, steps towards the bigger picture of wellness and taking better care of myself. And my eyebrow pencil ran out. It horrifies my daughter when she sees this video. She's gonna be like, oh, because she's really good at makeup, and sometimes I get her to apply my makeup for me when I want to look really, really nice, because as you can see, I'm not very good at it. And she's like, oh, it hurts my heart that you're using an eyebrow pencil. It's also kind of wasteful. So somewhere along my YouTube rabbit hole travels, I came across somebody that uses brown eyeshadow for their brows. So I went ahead and threw out my eyebrow pencil when it was getting near the end. I recycled what I could. And I've taken to using brown eyeshadow. I mean, I'm not going to use this dark brown eyeshadow on my eyes at any point. So actually it's kind of useful that I'm using more of this palette that I got for Christmas from my daughter. Again, baby steps. I live in an apartment, so there are very noisy people in the hall. So yeah, just more and more baby steps towards wellness and less waste. I've got some products coming in that I picked up towards my baby steps, so we'll talk about those when they come in. But yeah, I'm not saying that you have to do everything all at once, but it's for people like me, and I know there are other people in the world that are like me, it all can seem super overwhelming, and you don't want to identify as a vegan and then have some angry hater coming at you being like, that's not vegan, those beeswax aren't vegan, or that leather purse that you carry isn't vegan. I carry a leather purse, it's a hand-me-down, and it saved me from buying a purse. So it allowed me to be less of a consumer, to have a good quality purse, and I carry it. So it doesn't have to be so black and white. Everything doesn't have to be so black and white. You could live your life, you could live it well, and you can just take baby steps towards this stuff. So I don't know, I don't buy the zero waste, fancy dancy, recyclable or compostable toilet paper. I don't even know. Maybe toilet paper is compostable. I don't even know, but I don't buy the super expensive stuff, but I just try to do my part, and I try to put less down the toilet as I go. And so I'm just going to try stuff here and there, and maybe if anybody ends up watching this and anybody ends up following along, then you can come with me. Maybe nobody will watch this, and that's fine too. I'm not purporting to be an expert on anything. I'm not purporting to be anything more than I am, which is super duper imperfect, and not a vegan. I'm not a vegan. I am an aspiring vegan. I'm an aspiring zero waster. I am an aspiring excellent housekeeper. I don't know, and I aspire to have better skin and better hair, and those are all things I'm going to talk about in the future. So thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope everybody has a perfect day, and this video is seriously unedited, and I'm not trying to be something I'm not, so despite my cringeworthiness, I'm going to look at this, I'm going to play it back before I post it, and I'm going to be like, but I'm deliberately just trying to be me, Brandy. Anyway, I hope everyone has a perfect day.